So your Wii's collecting dust, and you say, hey, there's no good games for the Wii anymore. Why would I bother picking up that dusty old controller? You got it shoved to the back, and you're playing Xbox and PS3 now. The Wii was gimmicky and fun at a time, but now it's over. Well, dust that controller off, pick up that Wii, and plug it up to your main TV. You're about to go on a great adventure of epic platforming proportions. This game is amazing, and I am not being generous one bit. It's an absolute joyride to play Donkey Kong Country Returns. Donkey Kong Country Returns was developed by Retro Studios and not Rareware. It was published by Nintendo, and it is, or was, available November 21st and still is. This game is about a group of evil tikis known as the Tiki Tak Tribe. And as they arrive on Donkey Kong Island, they come out of the volcano and hypnotize all the animals into attacking Donkey Kong. The problem with this is that these are new antagonists and no one really knows them. It's kind of a sideline in the story. Having said that, they're still quite annoying, and the enemies that you'll be facing within this game are excellent and a joyous challenge, to say the least. This game has been put together superbly and is up there rivaling with Mario's excellent platforming ability. Personally, I would give this game definitely a wonderful rating, and there's very few things that I disliked about it. One of the only things I really disliked about it was the fact that the controller does have some gimmicky motions that just don't seem necessary, just like the new Super Mario Brothers does, where you have to move your controller and twist it around. In this one, you have to shake it in certain instances, and I can understand why you have to do that with this controller, because there's certain things you need to do. However, it doesn't work sometimes as well as you'd like it to, and especially when you're facing off with a very difficult boss and you need to get these controls right down to the letter, and you need to not let them get a hit on you. It can be really, really annoying to lose to a boss because the controller wouldn't do what you wanted it to do. Having said that, these gimmicky motions are at a minimum, and the challenge from the original Donkey Kong Country series, Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3, difficulty and the platforming fun returns on the Wii and comes back with a vengeance. This game is an excellent throwback to the 16-bit days of the excellent, beautifully looking Donkey Kong Country on the SNES. And if you're a fan of Donkey Kong Country, you will be delighted that this game does not retract from the difficulty and pander to the younger children, but in fact retains and ups the ante while making it much more difficult to complete the levels 100% of the way. Instead of just getting through the levels, now you have the ability to collect multiple things, such as puzzle pieces, coins, and of course the Kong letters. Where the Kong letters used to be very, very somewhat difficult to get, now they are extremely difficult to collect. So it really presents a great challenge for anyone who's really interested in picking this game up. It's really, really fun to play, and I'll tell you right now, I had a blast playing this with my parents. Having grown up in the 90s, this is a great throwback for me and a way to enjoy Donkey Kong Country, but in a new fashion. Because when I was a kid, I played a ton of Donkey Kong Country on my Super Nintendo, all through the years that they were being released, until the final one was released, Donkey Kong Country 3. Now that this is out, this is a new sequel for me to try and get everything that I possibly get, and it's just excellent to see that they've done all kinds of new stuff with this game. The few good things I really like about this game is how they did the graphics, and I really, really appreciate the simplicity of controls. More is not necessarily better most of the time. When you have more controls, when you have tons of buttons and different combos you have to put together, it kind of gets nerve-wracking, and if you pick up the game and drop it a couple months later and then want to pick it back up, you won't be able to jump back into it. With this game, it's pretty simple. The controls really are very basic, and there's really not anything special that you need to know about to beat this game. There are really about only 2 or 3 combos that you'll definitely need to master, and they simply require 2 buttons being pressed at the same time and the shaking of the controller. Which means that if you do decide to get off this game a couple months, you know, take a break or something, and you want to jump back into it later on, or you just don't play it that often, you can pick up and play it once more, which is an excellent thing for any game to do. Another great thing I really like about this game is the bosses are not as simple as they used to be. Not saying that they were simple by any means, but the fact remains that they are more clever. The AI is smarter, and the bosses are pretty difficult when you get to the later levels. The earlier bosses are pretty simple. All you do is jump on their head, or you use some type of gimmick to defeat them, a special method that they wouldn't think you would know how to defeat them by. And it's pretty much that. All through the game, there's no special or secret ways to defeat the bosses. It's just you have to use your own intuition and use the special combos or things like that to beat them. Also, all through the game, you'll find secret passages and different secret levels that you'll be able to jump into and get those rare puzzle pieces. Depending on each level, there's a different amount of puzzle pieces, and collecting all the puzzle pieces will yield some special stuff. So without ruining the story and without going in too much further, I'm not going to show too much more gameplay because, frankly, I wouldn't want the gameplay shown to me, and I wouldn't want it ruined for anyone else. So let's jump into the main review. Graphically speaking, I give this game an S. Can you tell me how this could look any better? Yeah, I'll tell you. Just put it in 1080p. You don't even have to touch the graphics. You don't have to touch up the textures. The character models look amazing. Donkey Kong never looked so well. And Diddy Kong riding his back with his peanut jetpack, it's just excellent, to say the least. I really love how this game looks. The shading, each level comes with its own special touch, and each section, from the beach to the high mountains, there's just nothing that you really miss out on the Wii, except that it's not in 1080p, and that's an oh well factor. Sound, give it an S also. There's very little voice acting, if any, if you could consider it voice acting. There are some grade A sound effects though, and the way the music is, it's just an excellent throwback to the SNES days. There couldn't be anything better. I give props to the music producer, however he decided to come up with it. The remix of the music really takes me back to the SNES days and is a wonderful throwback. Controls, with the exception of the shaking of the Wii Remote and sometimes it not working just simply because of the sensor, I give the controls an A+. They would get an S if they didn't have any of the shaking, but they do, and that's just gimmicky to me. Overall, gameplay and replay value. The replay value is exceptionally high. Once you play through this, you'll want to go through the levels again and again and again, trying to get the perfection, trying to collect every piece of the puzzle, every coin, and everything else that you could possibly collect to get the best score. Under replay value, I give it an S. And this game, I overall give a 10 out of 10. This game is a must pick up if you own a Wii, and you want to play your Wii again without actually having to buy a brand spanking new game. This game is a wonderful addition to the Donkey Kong Country series, and a great addition to anyone's Wii. Pick it up today, you won't be disappointed.